And Charismata 365 is where we flow in our grace gifts. This is a space where ministry and business thrive. And during the month of March, this is Women's History Month. So in honor of women and women in business, every Friday night, we're going to meet here to recognize and celebrate women who are doing tremendous things. They are thriving in their grace gifts. And so tonight, I am so very excited for the panel that we have. And we're getting ready to bring them on, and they're going to start by giving their name, their business name, and their business mission. And you're going to hear from them. And I know that you're going to be enriched. And with this group tonight, they are so phenomenal. I have dubbed them businesses that feed your soul. So coming forward is Cassandra Durham. It is Reverend Dr. Kia Hood Scott. It is Satin Seegers and Jaira Thomas. And these are some phenomenal ladies excelling in their businesses. So we're going to start with Cassandra. Cassandra, if you will, and then we'll follow by with Dr. Kia Hood Scott, then Satin, and then Jaira. We want to know your name, your business name, and your business mission.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. I am Cassandra Durham. I am the founder and owner of Black Girl Candle Company, where we create one-of-a-kind scent experiences for stressed out women looking for moments of peace and clarity. That's what we do. We leave a light on for our sisters.
Love it. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kia Hood Scott, and I'm the owner of Comfort and Joy. Where our mission is to bring you all of your gift needs from your comfort to your joy. So we are a care box giving company and a newly launched. And so we're excited, and thank you for having us on tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming. Okay. And Satin.
Hello, my name is Satin Seegers. I run Lashes by Sadie, and I work with doing lash extensions and doing brow work as well. And I am here to make clients, especially women, feel even more beautiful than when they walked in the room.
Great. Thank you so much, Satin. And Jaira.
Hi, ladies. Thank you for having me, Dr. Outlaw. My name is Jaira Thomas, and I am the founder of Written Aesthetics, where we promote mental clarity and act as a catalyst to release thoughts, ideas, goals, etc., through journal writing and greeting cards. Our vision is to be a leading and comprehensive stationery brand that creates a more emotionally connected world.
Great. Thank you so much, Jaira. So now you can understand why I say that these are businesses that feed your soul, because they make you feel good. And so these ladies, check their businesses out because they have created things to make you feel good. So now we'll start with, what made you start your business? So Cassandra, can you tell me why you started your business?
Sure. So one of the things that made me, of course, my business came about during the pandemic, but one of the things I wanted, one of the reasons I started my business was I wanted to create a product for Black women who, after being in the streets screaming about George Floyd and all of the things that we deal with, because our company speaks to the strength, tenacity, and the resilience of Black women and girls in America. I wanted to create a product for Black women with Black women in mind. So I wanted something that when you got through dealing with your day and the boss and the kids and the husband and all of those things, that you have something that reminds you to take care of you, to honor you and the space that you take up. And so I wanted to really create a candle company where it created opportunities for Black women to remember to take care of themselves.
Awesome. Thank you. Dr. Hood Scott.
So yeah, so my story is sort of different. So I was already doing what I'm doing now, but I was doing it for free. So I was the family trip planner, and every time we would go on vacation, I was always the one putting together these nice little vacation bags for the family, personalized book bags with everything they needed to travel. One year I forgot to do it, and everyone was so upset that I did not do their travel bag. And then I started doing it for my parents' business. And so my mom just said, "Hey, you're doing it for free, right? You need to make a living off this, do something with this, right?" And so the rest was history. My mother spoke the words and I did the work. And so and so we are very new in our business. We are a potentially launch date is coming up. And actually, I'm so grateful. I've already started partnering with Cassandra already. I've already talked to her. We're going to be doing some partnerships. So and so I'm very excited about it. And so that's sort of how I got started. And it's one of those things that I was already doing it. It was nothing that I had to sort of create. It was something that I was already doing. So, and I love doing it. I love doing it. Out of all the planning that I do for our family vacations, the bag must be done. The bags are just, I put the best stuff. We went to Disney last year. Everyone had personalized Disney bags. Everyone had hand sanitizer, crossword puzzles, all the gifts you need to have a good trip. And so my mom was like, you just need to do that. And so who doesn't listen to their mama, right? So that's how we got started. So it was just something that I was already doing. So I said, let's make a business out of it. And it works. It works.
And that's wonderful, Dr. Hood Scott. And I'm so happy that the two of you have already connected, because that's also what this is about, is we connecting and supporting one another and building our businesses. Great. Satin?
Yes, so I got started doing lashes technically a year ago when I became an esthetician to get licensed to do so. And I practiced on some of my friends. And at first, I didn't want to do it because I didn't like how my body felt and I just didn't think it was for me. And then after practicing and seeing what I could do and seeing more improvements, I just decided to start lashing. And then also getting the experience to be my own boss and to, kind of feel that empowerment as well. And I've never been my own boss before. I definitely wanted to put the two hand in hand and see where I can go from there.
Awesome. That's exciting. Okay. And Jaira?
Thanks. So I'm kind of like Dr. Kia Scott. This is something that was like a passion project of mine growing up. I've always loved writing. I've always loved just kind words. And so it kind of started out of college. I know many people right after college, they're kind of like, okay, it's the real world. What do I do? How do I kind of, figure this out? So journaling was something that I kind of used to kind of help me kind of get my bearings after college. So I would write and I would journal just about anything. And I started sharing the notes and the ideas and things that I was writing and shared it with friends, and they're like, "Oh, you need to do something with this," and I'm like, "Not sure." I just want to, it was for just encouraging and just motivational, and even for myself, like I mentioned, to just kind of be able to kind of help myself navigate and organize my thoughts. I was brought up in pretty much kind of, my mother's very entrepreneurial kind of mindset. And being my own boss wasn't something that I initially wanted to do. But when I realized how many people, I was able to reach just doing it for free, I noticed that this is something that I can kind of do to help promote and help other people be able to maybe pick up a hobby that, you know, enjoys writing, because we all need organization, and writing, even if it's structured or not, helps, I believe, helps with personal growth and just being able to help promote the importance of mental health and how staying organized can help us all, or even just a kind word, a note and a gift card or a greeting card to someone can help change and help just bring a smile to their day. So it's just something that I just thought was good within my circle, and I wanted to try to take it to a broader aspect and be able to reach other people that I know will probably have some of the same similar interests.
Great. Thank you all so much for sharing that. And those are such good motivators. And you turn some hobbies into businesses. And so that helps so much when you're really passionate about something. And I didn't even think about the mental health aspect of it. So thank you for sharing that. So along those lines, this flows into the next thing is, if any, what entries to barriers have you endured in starting your business? So what barriers, if any, have you endured?
I would have to say for Black Girl Candle Company, as we have begun to scale and grow, I will say access to capital, being able to, you know, grow, and because fortunately for us, we've grown quickly. But also not having those resources to be able to say, okay, I need $35,000 to expand my operation. Just not having access to capital. Most women-led small Black businesses are bootstrapped. And that's just the reality of it. And so I know for me, like the biggest barrier entry to this thing is just having access to capital to grow and scale. There's no telling where we would be if we did have access, as opposed to having to bootstrap it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Great. Thank you so much for sharing that. That is something that I have found in our Black female arena, is that is one of the number one entry to bear, you know, the bear. Okay.
I like to add to that, but let me also say, I think one of my biggest barriers was myself, right? And I say that because I was doubting if I should even do it, right? I was like, you know, a gift, who does that, right? But I was my biggest barrier. And for years, I just sat on the back burner, worried about what people were going to say and who wouldn't buy, who wouldn't do. But there were people who did buy, and there were people who believed in the product. And I think that was my biggest barrier, was just myself and just getting started. Like, just, I had a business plan, but I didn't know where to start. So I just started doing what I was doing, and it just worked, you know. And I just believe when God's in it, if you just get started, I think that's the biggest thing. And those of us who are doing it, you just got to get started. And it may be slow, but just get started. And I think I know I was the biggest barrier. And I was worried about, well, there's people who do this, right? It's all kinds of people that do this. But I saw this concept on social media where it had a picture of the bread aisle, right? And all the breads. And I don't know if I think some of our business owners are shaking their head. And it just said, you know, there are all types of breads, but everybody specializes in what they do. It didn't stop Marita from making Marita just because there was another brand of bread. Everybody made their bread. And so I sort of use that as sort of a model for me, that it may be 20, 30, 40, 50 people doing the same thing, but that doesn't mean I can't do it. And so the barrier was myself getting over that somebody else may be doing it, and just trust that whatever I do it the way I do. And that I think I know myself was the barrier. So, and sometimes I'm still in the barrier. Sometimes if I don't see the revenue like I want to, I'm like, I know I shouldn't have done this, right? But then next month might be better. So, you just have to not get yourself in those type of holes sometimes, but we all get there. Every month is not a good month, but you do have your good. So it's just those type, yourself as the barrier. So yes.
Thank you for sharing that. And that is so true. And what a lot of people don't recognize is that sometimes it takes 3 to 5 years for a business to show a profit. And you have to ride through that process. That's why it's important to have your savings and your emergency savings and lines of credits and things like what Cassandra was talking about, have that built up if you can't get to it, because it doesn't happen overnight. But thank you for sharing. Satin, would you like to share any barriers that you may have had?
Yes, ma'am. So I definitely agree with what Dr. Kia Scott said. That was very nice. And I definitely relate to that. Just getting started and taking the first steps, the progress. Slow progress is better than no progress. The barriers and stuff that I've had with my business is just adjustment to things as far as environment, doing my lashes and making sure it's within proximity of my supplies, my glue, my tweezers, all of it. And, some weeks aren't as good as others. And it's the self-doubt and the mindset can really reflect in your work and what you put into your business. So if your mindset isn't good and it's negative and it's not there, it's going to reflect on your business. So you have to show up for yourself every day and you have to change that mindset. And for me, that's a big barrier because I do doubt myself a lot, and that's something I do need to change. So definitely.
Thank you for sharing. And Jaira?
I think we all can kind of say, I think as business owners can kind of latch on to what Dr. Hood mentioned about kind of being in our own barriers. I feel like as just a business owner in general, entrepreneur, there's just a mindset that we have to kind of get over, especially too. Sometimes maybe balancing being entrepreneurship and other other things, another full-time, or to be able to provide for to fund our business. So I would have to say that one of the barriers, if many, I can say technology. Written aesthetics, like many of you guys started during or launched or had a soft launch during the pandemic. So some products, are, hands-on, and technology can kind of stretch you and kind of, everyone wants it fast and wants it now. And so written aesthetics had some, issues or barriers with getting product on time and then being able to get that product to on all technology kind of avenues. So, when you think of greeting cards, most people shop in person to kind of get those, but being able to provide those during an electronic or a technology, a different technological way of showing that thing. So being able to get that product via, barriers that we're dealing with, snail mail and things like that during the pandemic. So some timing issues with technological and being able to provide that product for that customer.
Absolutely. Great. Thank you so much. And I appreciate all of you sharing, because we all have some different issues and hurdles that we have to cross in that barrier market. So, thank you for all of you sharing your various barriers, and because that's going to help each and every one of us as we continue along this journey. So then the next question that I would ask, if you could speak to your 18 or 20-year-old self, what would you tell her? I see y'all smiles. Cassandra, would you like to start?
I would say trust your voice. Stop listening so much and stop taking in the validation of all the voices around you. Lean into your fears and trust your voice. Everything that you have, everything that you need, God has already put inside of you. That's what I would say.
Thank you.
I think I think Cassandra said it perfectly. Trust your voice. And I would like to add to that voice, go with the purpose instead of the path, right? Because a lot of times, if I had to go back and tell my 15-year-old self that what he said.
But yeah, you can do a 15. I said 18 to 20, but our
18 to
teenage
20. Okay.
self, that
If
young
I had to tell
adult,
my 18 to 20-year-old self is to continue to dig for the purpose, right? And not always the popular path, because the popular path is what everyone tells you to do. Now, I do not regret going to college. I'm glad I went to college. I'm glad I got my master's degree. I'm glad I got a doctorate degree. I'm happy about those things because it helped expose me to a lot of things, right? But there may be some people who say I really don't want to do that, right? And that's okay. But find that purpose in the process. College is not, everyone doesn't do college. Some people do great being entrepreneurs. Some people do great going to tech school, and those are great paths to take. But be authentic to that, and don't put yourself in a space where you feel like you have to copy off a path. Find the purpose, right? And trust that even when it's not popular, or even when you're like, I want to say, just like Cassandra, lean into the fear, right? Fear is always this sort of this thing where, of course, that we should have some anxiety or some anxiousness towards it. But fear also reminds us that we can't do this alone, right? And that's what I love about fear. Fear makes you question even yourself. And if you're doing it, and you start ironing out and thinking through things even more to find out that you really wasn't afraid, you were just unsure. All right, you were just unsure. And once you get past that, then really the sky's the limit. And so if I had to go back and tell the 18-year-old Kia that walked into Winston-Salem State University in the year 2000, go Rams, yes, I would definitely say, you made the right choice of going to college. You did, girl. You did that. I just want you to, next time go around, let the other 18-year-old girl next to you know, follow her purpose too. Follow her purpose and stick to it. Stick to it. So that would be a common conversation I have with my 18-year-old self. Yeah.
love it. Love it. I couldn't agree more. All right, Satin.
I would tell my 18 to 20-year-old self to explore your options and to just keep an open mind and do what makes you happy, and just see what all is out there, and that it's okay to be confused, because when you're younger and you're seeing everybody else and seeing what they're doing, you might want to copy and do their path, but just do what feels right for you and what interests you, and look into yourself.
Thank you.
I would say, I would tell my 18 to 20-year-old self, be yourself, like stay true to who you are, because and to network, because networking, you find out a lot about yourself that you may not have known or may have paid attention to. And then you also come across with people that are you find people that are not as different as we have a lot more in common than what we know, because we sometimes just don't network or communicate with one another. But I would say just stay true to yourself and network. Don't be afraid to ask those questions, because 9 out of 10 times when we're 18 and 20, there's a lot of people that want to help us. And sometimes at 18 and 20, we kind of think that, all right, kind of figuring stuff out. And we got it. But just networking and asking those questions and staying true to who you are. Not, you don't have to change or shift a certain part about you to kind of fit in, but as long as you stay true to who you are, you can leave a little, speckle of yourself behind for others. So that's probably what I would tell myself. Stay true to who you are.
Absolutely. Great. Thank you, ladies. So find your voice, find your purpose, lean into the fear, network. I love it. That's what I need to go back and tell my 18, 20-year-old self as well. All right. Well, great. Well, and what I would ask, if there anyone, I know we're on Facebook Live and also we have people here. If you have a question, please place it in the chat so that we can see it. We'll be happy to try to answer that because we have plenty of time left. So now my question would be, because as women in business, we have crossed a lot of hurdles. As women who have gone to college and tried to survive the path that we were told to walk upon, we know where that's led us, right? Versus where we are versus maybe where we want to be in the barriers. So the question that I would have for you now is this: what knowledge would you give to the next generation of women?
I'll start. I think for the next generation of women or women who come in to do business or whatever the business is that you're doing, right? Um, support other women, right? I think that is so powerful. And I because my what I'm doing is my ministry as well. So I think supporting other women and um, you know, let's not be crabs in a bucket. Let's not let's not destroy each other because it wasn't your idea. I think the power is when we empower each other. So if I got a company and my company can use your company and your business can use my business, why not? Why? Because we all win at the end, right? At the end of the day, it's about everybody getting to the top. It's enough top for everybody. It's enough top for everybody. And so I would say to other women, my advice is help build other women. So one of the things that I'm very intentional about with our boxes is I wanted more Black owned product in my boxes. And my give so I was like, oh, I gotta get me a good smelling candle. So I called Cassandra. I said, girl, I need to buy some stuff wholesale from you, right? And so I'm setting up something in a couple of weeks where I can go and get product from Cassandra and feature it in our boxes. That's how we build each other, right? And then, the next thing somebody know where you get that candle from. Her name will be on the back on her product and they can order. We don't know what that seed would do. So I think for women, we got to learn to sow seeds in each other and support each other and make sure we push each other. And I think that's the power of being a strong business is that you just, and like I said, I'm new in this thing, what I am learning is that when you get other women to support you, because men do it all the time. Men do it all the time. And I'm not just talking, I'm talking about for this type of, and in ministry, period. Men support each other, so I think the biggest thing is that we have to support each other. And I think when we learn to do that, we become more powerful. We share the knowledge. When another woman calls you to ask, how do you do that? Tell them how you did it. Stop holding back. That's one thing I do appreciate about Michelle, Dr. Outlaw. When I got a financial question, I'll call her and she tells me, and she doesn't hold anything from me, right? And so, and that's rich because guess what? The next thing I know, if someone says, I need somebody to do some finance, I said, I got the perfect person for you. And I send them to her. And I think once we do that and learn to empower each other, I think we become stronger together. So definitely empowerment. Yep.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing.
Can I add to that?
Yes.
I would say, absolutely, you are who you are waiting on. I keep thinking to myself, growing up, Disney told us all this lie that there was somebody gonna come in on a white horse and they was gonna slay the demons and that they were gonna save us. No, baby, you are who you're waiting on. And so in that, do it. Whatever it is, do it. Because the voices in your head, the negative self-talk is gonna always serve to stop you. Do it anyway. You don't even understand how powerful, how anointed, and how great you are. Because we want God to answer the prayer before we start doing something. That's not gonna happen. He's only gonna meet you in the processing, right? So you are who you're waiting on. Stop thinking that somebody is gonna come in with a magic something to do it for you. It's no. It's not gonna happen, okay? You have everything you need. Step in it, walk into it, run towards it, do it, do. In fact, it's so many of us standing on the sideline saying, you go, girl, do it, sis, do it. We rocking you, we're supporting you, we're lifting you up, we're praying you. One of the things I always say in my business that we leave the lights on because I want anybody that rides by my organization say, I may be going through hell and high water right now, but there is a light letting me know that there is light out of darkness, that I can keep walking through this, I can keep talking through this, I can push on, I can move on. Baby, you the one you waiting on. Quit looking for somebody else. You the superhero. Go in the closet, put your Supergirl t-shirt on, pull on your cape and rock it out. We here, we got you, we with you, we standing behind you. You don't even understand. You got 10,000 Black women cheering you on, sis. Do the doggone thing. We got you. Do it. Do it. I'm sorry. I got a little excited.
No, I love it. And that's what we need. That is precisely what we need. So thank you for sharing that, because we all need that cheerleader and know that we have a support system standing behind us. Satin, Jara, would you like to share?
Yes, so definitely, I can't beat that. That was really good. But definitely uplifting each other. That was one of the things I was going to say, because you shouldn't feel like you're in competition with everybody else, just yourself, because you need to believe in yourself, and nobody else is going to do it for you. You've got to have that drive inside of you and to do it. And just this may seem a little off, but just be kind with everybody else, because everybody is trying to make a killing to live a good life and all of those things. So just empowerment is so important. I really, really do agree. Empowerment is so important, because somebody should be able to feel comfortable to ask you, how you did it. What's the recipe? So I definitely agree with all of that. I do.
Encouragement and empowerment, I think, is a big one. And I was going to say too, plan your rest, like plan some time for yourself as you're, because women, sometimes we have to, try a little harder sometime or scream a little louder to be heard in certain rooms. And I think it's good to just plan your rest, because as women, we, play many roles and do different things. But if you plan your rest and fill yourself up and make sure that, you're filled up and you have your rest, you're able to pour into yourself and into others appropriately. So I think that that's just really important, to encourage and empower others and to plan your rest.
Thank you so much. All right, so that is great. So thank you. That was very good nuggets. So we have another question from the audience, and the question is, since your products fill the soul, can you share any lives your products have changed?
I can talk about, so my company makes a candle called Restoration. And I always say that this candle is for the woman who has lost her step or somehow lost her way. Um, so the young lady bought our candle, and her father was in hospice, and they began to light this candle, make it part of their prayer processing. And before things were over with, he reconciled himself to God, and their family. They had some issues that they had to work out, and restoration did come for them. And so even now, when I tell her I'm gonna stop making that candle, she, she sent me all kind of dirty messages about how even now, even the candle even reminds her of the presence of her father. And so when she wants to feel connected to him, then she buys those candles, because it really is, we don't understand how much scent is tied to memory. And so I always tell people, you can always create a new memory and create with a new scent. And so for her, and for women like her, especially those who are our women empowerment candles, women who have had some mental health issues, talk about the impact that candle make in their lives, and how they call them peace in a glass, and how it shuts out all of those negative voices. And those are just two ways why how our candles have impacted the lives of people. But we have so many stories of people who email us and inbox us and say, hey, my life has changed, which is, when you think about candles, you're thinking like, why would somebody need a candle to change their life? But absolutely, memory, so many things are tied to sense. And we don't even really think about how when we can be on such a running raggedy pace, and then that you light that candle and it commands it literally commands everything around you to be at peace and bring everything down. But that's the anointing of God. It's not me. I'm doing his work. So that at least for Black Girl Candle Company.
Powerful, powerful. Would anyone else like to tackle that question? Okay, it looks like everyone is still on mute. So we're going to move on. The next question, and these are a few questions. What types of help will a new entrepreneur need? That's technical, social media, financial savvy, like keeping good books and buying at the best prices. How hard is it to keep business finances straight?
So if I can just chime in that one. So like I said, we're fairly new. And one of the things I would say is to ask questions, right? Ask questions. You need to ask questions. If you have never started a business, ask questions. The worst thing you can do is get in it and get stuck and can't figure out, think that you have to figure out on your own. Ask another business owner. Ask the questions, right? Get your LLC. Be a business. If you're gonna be a business, right? Register with the IRS. Get your EIN. Do all of that. Be a legit business. Dr. Outlaw, again, when I didn't know, I knew where to go, and I went to Dr. Outlaw, and she said to me, I never forget it, if you don't have all these things in place, this is not a business, it's just a hobby. It's just a hobby. And I said, and I said, wow, that is the truth. I was talking about all these great ideas. She's like, well, this is what you need to do. And then I asked the questions. And if I get stuck, I ask. If I'm trying to find the best product, I do research. I ask other women who I've seen do it, where did you get that from? How did you do that? Tell me, what was your process? And I ask questions, and don't be afraid of a no. A lot of times we get to a no and we want to stop. We think the world's going to end. No, go to the next. Somebody's going to give you a yes. It's going to be somebody's going to believe in your product just like you do. And somebody's going to give you a yes. I've gone to people and I've asked, no, I don't think I'm interested. But then I've gone to others. Oh yeah, that sounds like a great idea. I'll take 20 of them. Just like that. And if I had stopped at the petition for the 10 no's, I would have never got the 20 that gave me a yes. So I would say, make sure you do that. Good bookkeeping is the best thing. Save your money. Just because you make a little bit don't mean that you spend it. Don't pay yourself yet. Don't do that. Put it aside, because there's going to be some days where you're not going to make that money. You're not. And so, I would advise that will be my advice. Get your good bookkeeping. Be a legit business. Be a legit business. Don't rush it. Just start slow. I'm starting very slow, very, very slow until I perfect it. Right? Then we'll move to the next. We have these phases in our business plan. Oh, I didn't mention that, right? Have a plan and be okay if the plan changes, because it will. It will. What we started ain't where we at right now. But stay true to the general mission, right? Stay true to the general mission. So, start slow, perfect it. How we handle the boxing, how we handle the gift. Does this work? And we look up product. We look up products. We look at what's best wholesale and what's good quality. Not all cheap ain't always better. Cheap is not always better. I've learned that. Cheap is not always better. You're going to get good quality because you want people to come back. Because word of mouth, I don't care how much social media you got. I don't care how much. Word of mouth is where it's at. That's how we're getting it. Word of mouth is where it's at. So that's what I would tell you. Good bookkeeping, QuickBooks. You don't have to spend a lot of money on those things. But you want to make sure you have what you have so you can be legit. And so you can later on see that $1 million revenue. That's what I'm believing in. I'm believing $1 million. I'm believing and more. And so that's sort of my insight on that.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hood Scott. Would anyone else like to tackle that question?
Can I just add on to what she said about, I think one of the things, we've been in business since July of 2020. One of the most, I think, profound things I found in my business is I got a mentor and I paid her. I think that it's unrealistic and unfair to expect people to give you something that they've worked, slaved, and cried and walked the floor for all night. And so for me, at least in my business, because we do different things, it was imperative that I connect with somebody that was where I wanted to go to. And so for me, I was very blessed to be able to connect with some other candle makers who have already hit the echelon of where I'm trying to get to. But at times it came with the cost, right? Because sometimes you do have to pay to be in certain atmospheres and certain rooms. So I would say, when you get to the point where you need to grow and scale and that kind of stuff, I think that is very important to find a really good business mentor, somebody that's already been, because if they've already reached where you're trying to get to, they already know where the pitfalls are in the road. They already know what's happening. And it's very, I always say with business, like, you can pay me now, you can pay me later, right? Because you're gonna have to pay, at some point. But I think that it was, for me, finding mentors who had already way down the road. And a lot of times it's going to classes. A lot of times it's signing up to do a workshop, because I'm a social worker, so I don't have a business background. So a lot of times it's going to class too.
Great. Thank you so much. And Jaira, I believe you were trying to answer.
Yeah, I just want, she kind of just covered that. Cassandra covered it. I was going to say, and I said networking earlier, there's resources and around you. I'm not sure where all of us are coming from, but I'm here in Winston, and I know Forsyth County Community College has a small business center, and they have different classes and different things that you can get, and connected with people that can you can get a mentor. Some of these resources are free. So I will look in, maybe your local areas and see if there's any classes, like Cassandra mentioned, that could be totally free. Dr. Kia Hood mentioned, having your LLC, the paperwork, EIN numbers. Those are really good things to have, because I also saw a question, I'm not sure if I'm getting ahead of myself, but about grants and funding. If you have to be a business to be able to get certain qualification or have certain requirements to be able to get certain funds that may be in your area. And asking questions, Google. I know pandemic may have changed some things, but you can go on social media and follow different companies that are in your industry that you can get ideas, you can get, aspirations on where you want to be, or, even ideas for your different products and your business plan. Create a plan, may not write it in pen, but write it in pencil, like Dr. Kia mentioned, because it gives you a landing, a pinpoint, a target point to keep in mind when you're going through your business and you're going through different ideas, or you're having a good or bad day in your business. You need some kind of some inspiration to kind of keep you inspired to doing what you like to do and remind you while you're doing it. Maybe make a vision board, or write a business plan, a soft, even if it's in PowerPoint. I'm taking my business very slow as well, but you can do a lot of these things without paying for them. PowerPoint, you can come up with, they have different templates that you can use. You may not have a big enough business to where you may need QuickBooks just yet, but you can do an Excel spreadsheet to where you can keep track of your books and things that you're paying for or you're investing in, and be willing to invest in yourself. Don't, be willing to ask someone else and they tell you no, and you wouldn't do that for your own business. Try to, even if it's investing in logos, or, your branding, different photos and different things. Literally Google the question that you have, and you're gonna find a blog, a website, something that, someone may have a business like yours. And that's not to scare you away, but that's to show you that there's room for you. If there's room for 1,000 other candle makers or 1,000 other, notebooks or lash makers, there's room for you. And you just have to differentiate yourself. So, have that, make a plan and stick to it, and also be willing to bet on yourself if you want others to bet on you.
Great. Thank you, ladies. Such great nuggets, lots of wisdom. So thank you. Next question. How were you able to balance what you do with family and other obligations? What words of encouragement or advice would you give in that area? So how are you able to balance what you do with family and other obligations? And I know all of you are extremely busy, so I know you're doing some balancing.
If I can touch on that, I would say, I mentioned earlier, plan your time. I know it can kind of sound cliche, we don't want to get too boxed in, but just kind of like stay true to who you are, and plan, like literally, like try to be as organized as you can. And if it's a business to where you can, some of us have, your candle maker or a lash, you can maybe use some of your friends to, practice on, or, to get surveys. That's another thing. Our target audience is 9 out of 10 times not our family and friends. we market to them, and then sometimes we get mad if they're not with it or they don't want to, spend. But you can use them for maybe questions, to answer questions and surveys, to kind of get a target audience or get some feedback, get some testimonials that you can use for your business. And that can, seem like a more of a family effort, and not maybe like selling towards your family, but having your family and your friends help you be able to get the information that you need, sometimes helping them, get questions, answers, and surveys, or taking trips to the stores together to look at different products or different vendors, making a fun time out of it. Not, use them as your workers, but bonding time and being able to grow and learn more about your business as well.
Thank you so much, Jara.
If I can just add to that, I will say I would ditto to Jara. Yes, you got to carve time in. And one of the things I've learned, just not just in Confident Joy, but as a pastor and a minister as well, is that you have to be intentional about that time. Like this weekend, I'm intentional. I got some special guests here this weekend. And, after tonight, I will be unavailable to a lot of people after tonight, because I need to take some time to take care of those who take care of me. So one of the things that I've learned, and I'm getting at the end of the day, your family will be here for you when the business excels or not. So you got to take the time to do that. And also your family will understand when you are busy. My family does, they understand when I am busy with whatever. They'll tell me, I know you're busy. And I always tell them, but I'm not that busy. I'm not that busy that if you need me, I cannot be there for my family. And so I think the key is just to be intentional. Carve that time out for work, carve that time out for play, carve that time out for yourself, because all of that matters. Because even though you're there with your family, you're still giving of yourself. So then I think there has to be a moment where you go back and recharge you. And I've even had to learn that within the last couple of weeks. I mean, it sounds so fresh because it's fresh for me, because I've had to do that within the last couple of weeks. My doctor got on me because I gained some weight. And he was like, I don't care what you got going on. You need to take the time to take care of you. He said, 30 minutes of walking every day is going to help you. You'll be able to be a better pastor. You'll be able to be a better this and that. He said, I need you to do that. And as much as I left there mad at him, he was absolutely right. And so it did something for my mind, my body, and my soul. And so I say to anybody, not business owners or not, if you're a mother, you own a business called a house. If you're a father, you run a business called a home. Whatever the case may be, if you're single, whatever, you need to take that time and carve that out and be okay with saying no. No, I am not available today. And no is not a statement. It's a complete sentence. 2 words, complete sentence with a period. And it's okay. And you set those boundaries with people. And either they will respect it or they won't. But either way it goes, you still said no, and you're gonna do what you gotta do. And that's nothing mean. I try to be available to people, but when there's time to be at one with family, I really try to be with my family. I got started because my mother was the pusher. She was the one. And no matter what kind of crazy ideas I come up with, she is one of my biggest cheerleaders. She's like, go ahead. Yeah, you can do that. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my gosh, can I really do this? But so when you got people who believe in you, you gotta believe the value of time for them as well. And so I take family vacation. Absolutely. When my sister calls, can the kids come up for the weekend? Absolutely. Absolutely. And so my mom said, can you, I go home. I said, Mom, I'm coming on. She's happy. But I think it's very important that you do that. And it's valuable. I'm very passionate about this, you can tell. Because I think that's what makes you a better business owner, is that when you have that work-life balance.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Would anyone else like to share? Okay. And the last question, and Jira had actually already started answering this, but the question is, are there opportunities for funding, grants, sponsorships, specifically for African American women? So again, Jira, if you wanted to elaborate further, you're welcome to. If one of the other panelists would like to chime in, feel free. Yeah, and I would share that, yes, there are. You have to, a lot of times, if we can Google or tap in with people in our industry, they can lead you to where those grants are. But there's always some type of funding. And right now is a good time to be an African American woman, because there have been a lot of funding available in the past year. And so check out your industry and check in with others who are in your industry. Jara, I think that you unmuted. You wanted to say something?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah, this is a great, I was gonna agree with you. And this is a great time. I would check into, I know there's state, level or county level, and honestly, look at the requirements for the different fundings or, grants, and apply for each and every one of them. I would say apply. Don't, I may or may not go. If you're on the teeter-totter and you're not sure, go for it, because you never know, and it's practice. Grant writing, I know sometimes there's classes for that, but if you see a grant out there and you meet the requirements, I would say go for it, because what's the worst that can happen? You learn from it, and and we get some experience. We make some of the questions that they ask. They may ask you, questions about your business that you may not have even thought of yet. Soft financials for your business that you may not have even thought of yet or start to put together yet, but it gives you a chance to kind of see what they're asking you for and what's required of you so that you can get that money, because there's many people that's probably thinking the same thing. Should I do it? Should I not? And that can be the difference of, you getting some money to fund your business. So I would say just go for it, shoot your shot.
No, I thank you, Jara, and I agree. And one thing, this is starting all the way back at the beginning about those entry barriers, right? Is funding. Don't be afraid to apply. The worst that they can say is no. And what have you lost by someone saying no? You haven't lost anything, but you've got everything to gain. So ask, and ask again. So many women were left out of a lot of the governmental monies because they had not had established relationships. So we want to make sure that we're talking about this in the event that another pandemic comes, emergency funding comes, that every woman is eligible, is in a good position to be able to reap the benefits, because that's what's going to grow your business. Goes back to what Cassandra was saying. What could she do if she had another $35,000 or another $50,000? How much more could she grow her business? But anyway, it is 8:30. Thank you so very much for joining Charismata 365, where we are celebrating women and recognizing women. I want you to make sure that you seek out every one of these ladies and take care of them and their businesses. Support them, buy from them. If you can partner with them, make sure that you do that, because at the end of the day, we have to take care of one another. So again, thank you so much for coming tonight. I appreciate you. I love you. Come back next Friday night for another panel of women, where we're going to be recognizing and celebrating during this Women's History Month. Thank you so very much, everybody. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.